Welcome to Flawless TV. It's almost Halloween, so this month we're hosting a murder mystery dinner party. It's going to be to die for. Welcome to Flawless TV, where this month we are going to teach you how to throw a dinner party. But it is October, so it is going to be a very spooky murder mystery dinner party. I am going to teach you every step of the way: who to invite, how to make invitations, how to time your meal, what to prepare the day before versus the day of, how to pair wine with the menu, how to pick a menu, and of course, how to make that menu. I'm also going to teach you some great tips for decorating and setting a table. For tonight's menu, we are going to start with a poison antidote cocktail, which is really a margarita that we're going to put black squid ink in. We're also going to enjoy a very moldy cheese plate, followed by our seated dinner of butternut squash ravioli with sage brown butter, duck breast with Sancerre rouge jus, beet, grapefruit, and arugula salad. Then we will finish with the Nutella panna cotta with raspberry sauce, coffee, and tawny port. Now, how flawless is that? Then we will have accusations and figure out who the murderer is. It may even be me. I wouldn't have known it, but I bought this game called Murder at the Manor. And in this company's version of hosting a murder mystery dinner party, you can actually end up being the murderer. So we'll see what happens. I'm very excited. So because this table is being set as if we're in a manor, that sounds very fancy to me. So I'm taking all of my restaurant experience and I am setting a formal table. The problem for me when I'm hosting a formal dinner party is that I find that guests can feel uncomfortable, like they don't know which fork to use and they not sure if the bread plate is theirs or their neighbor's. So I have little tricks when I've set the table to really help them understand. For example, I make sure that the glassware, I have 3 glasses on this table. It is going to go from above the knife towards the center of the plate, so it's clearly in front of my plate. I also am going to tuck the napkin just ever so slightly under that left side of their plate, because I probably would grab the napkin that was close, like touching my plate. Some other things I like to do is to make sure that there's nothing intrusive visually so that my guests can see across the table, meaning I'm not going to have a big, tall flower arrangement in the center of the table. My candles are going to be low, creeping candles, not tall candlesticks. I think this is really important because after all, we're here to enjoy food and wine together and have community, and I want to be able to talk to everyone. And I am so excited to say that all of the beautiful table settings, glassware can be found at flawless.com on my website. I'm so excited for this spooky affair, so let's get to it. Boo! The very first thing I make for a dinner party menu is the dessert. And tonight I'm serving Nutella panna cotta with raspberry sauce and chopped hazelnuts. I prepared this beautiful Nutella panna cotta yesterday, and it has set overnight in the refrigerator. And then I have just made today my raspberry sauce, and I'm going to pour it into these jars, little pitchers I should say, so that it can cool. And then right before dessert, I will finish my garnish and serve it. I think it's really important when you're cooking with nuts that they're visible. So that is why I've chosen not just a raspberry sauce on top of the Nutella panna cotta, but the nut itself. Hazelnut is what is in Nutella. So I just chop these up. And this is a great thing to do ahead of time so that you don't even have to worry about chopping the nuts when you're serving dessert. You can just pour a little sauce, throw a few nuts on there, and serve it with your digestif or espresso. This beautiful knife I'm using, I'm so excited to be working with 4 Moguls, can be found on my flawless.com website. This is the chef's knife. There you have it. Next, I make butternut squash ravioli. I make it really simply. I buy store-bought wontons and I put butternut squash inside. But my oven is broken, so I just ran to Whole Foods and at the salad bar found some already roasted butternut squash. I brought it home, I sauteed it with some butter and some herbs from my garden, salt and pepper. I even threw in a little bit of cream cheese. Now I take the inside and I fill the wonton. You know, you can make this recipe as early as you want in preparations. In fact, I make it every year for Thanksgiving. I make it a week ahead of time and I freeze them. They freeze beautifully. And you can always find the recipe on my website, flawless.com. So I'm putting about a tablespoon inside these square wontons. You don't want to overfill it, otherwise your stuffing will come out when it hits the boiling water. Next, I wet the edge with a little pastry brush and some water. I set on top another wonton, and then I take this really cool pasta press, which is shaped like a square, and I press. That's it. For an appetizer portion, which is what I'm making this for, I'm gonna prepare 3 raviolis per guest and a few extra just in case they break in the water. For my salad this evening, I'm using a New York Times recipe for beet, orange, and arugula salad. I thought it was a perfect choice for my murder mystery dinner because I would choose blood oranges for the red of the fruit. However, when I got to Whole Foods, I couldn't find blood oranges, so I'm substituting ruby red grapefruits. And I had to go to Whole Foods anyway because my oven is broken and I had to buy the already roasted beets. So I am going to start to prepare this salad in advance in terms of the grapefruit segments. The last thing I want to do is be dealing with pith and peel right before my guests arrive. And I can't do it too early though, like I can't prep this the day before because then my fruit would be sad. I am gonna save these beautiful peels that oh, they smell so good, taking off, because a great thing to do right before my guests arrive is to throw these in the garbage disposal of the sink to have your house fill with a fresh scent of citrus. After I prepare the grapefruit segments, I'm going to slice my beets. I have little beets here, so I'll just put them in half. And I'll set those aside in a bowl. I'll make sure that my arugula is washed and that my salad dressing is made. Then I will assemble the salads on individual plates. I've decided to serve it. The duck that this course is going to be included with is going to be served family style. So I thought it would be nice to have the salad on the plate and then they could help themselves to the duck and all the flavors would go so well together. This grapefruit is beautifully juicy. And I'm cutting each segment individually so that I don't include any of the pith. Grapefruit can be bitter enough, a flavor that's not bad, but too much bitter would throw off the balance of this salad. I'll just make my way around each grapefruit and my segments will be ready to go for when I plate them right before the main course. All right, this is the last cooking I'm going to do before I get into costume. We are going to sear our duck breasts and start the sauce. So I'm gonna turn my cast iron skillets. I have two good size ones, one larger than the other, and I'm gonna get them really, really ripping hot. While they're heating up, I am going to, I've taken my duck breast that I've been marinating out of the refrigerator, and I wanna remove the garlic and the thyme sprigs that I put on there earlier. Because when they hit the pan, that would burn really quickly. So it's helpful to not have the thyme sprigs and the garlic on there. You know, this recipe and all these recipes can be found on flawless.com, and I'm literally reading the recipe as I'm going through it. I know I wrote the recipe, but I'm telling you, when you have guests about to arrive, or it feels like they're about to arrive, I can't remember anything. I have all my duck breasts in the pan sizzling away. I'm gonna leave them skin side down, this first side, for 7 minutes. Then I'm gonna turn them over for 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll finish about medium rare. While the duck breasts are working, I'm gonna start the sauce. So I'm gonna do that by putting about 2 tablespoons of butter into a medium saucepan. I will light the fire, let the butter melt, and to that I'm gonna add my shallots and these reserved tenderloins. These are what I trimmed off of the duck breast before I marinated them into the sauce. I'm gonna let that brown and work itself together for about 2 or 3 minutes before I add the tomato paste and chicken stock and the Sancerre Rouge. All right, it's time to turn my duck breast over. I'm letting the duck tenderloins and the shallots kind of melt together for a couple of minutes. And yes, it's a time. I'm gonna add the tomato paste. And it's important to cook tomato paste before you add a lot of liquid. I mean, it is already cooked, of course, but it really brings out that sweetness and that roasted flavor if you let it kind of live in the heat a little bit. So I'll give that a minute. My duck is done, so I am going to remove that to a plate to rest for at least 10 minutes before I cut it. Time to add the 2 cups of chicken broth. Low sodium is pretty important to use. This sauce can get salty quickly. 1/4 cup of Sancerre Rouge, which I'm very generous with my 1/4 cups. So we're gonna keep this simmering for about 10 minutes. It's gonna reduce by about 1/3 to make it a bit of a thicker sauce or thicken it slightly. And then it'll be ready to finish with the duck. At the end, when I take it off the heat, I'll add the cognac. It's 90 minutes before my guests arrive, but before I go change into my costume, I am going to take all of my cheeses out of the refrigerator so that they can come to room temperature, and I'm going to ice my champagne and white wine. Darlings, D minor at your service. I have a few tips for you on what to wear and what not to wear when you're hosting a dinner party. First and foremost, make sure you're the best looking gal in the room, that's for sure. Second, make sure that you don't have anything flowy and swoopy doopy, on your arms, because you're going to be clearing the table. You're going to be pouring the wine. You do not want to get wine on your fabulous outfit. Really, that's all. Make sure you smell good, make sure you smile big, and for God's sake, sing a song. Darlings, I've set a beautiful table and I want to tell you all about it. So it's about 30 minutes before my guests arrive. I'm going to be lighting all of the candles. These gorgeous pieces right here in the center are going to reflect on the beautiful glassware, which you can find at flawless.com. Here we have our red wine glass. So beautiful by Nude. Oh, this lovely one is our stemmed water glass by Williams Sonoma. Then, darlings, we have this stunning gold flatware, beautifully matched by the gold charger below. Next up, but certainly not least, is the Inku dinner plate. Very Asian inspired, and I know my guests are gonna be totally romanticized by it. My God, the Inku bread and butter plate. We call that B&B in the hospitality industry, the B&B plate by Inku. Doesn't it look like a little flower? That's what we think. All right, I'm off to finish lighting my candles. To-do! Just before your guests are about to arrive, double check that you have a clean sink and an empty dishwasher. Well, we know Ford Escort is guilty, but are you guilty of not following, and subscribing to Flawless? Do so with the links below. Happy Halloween to all. May it be flawless.